The last time I ever painted was बहुत बड़ा मगरमच्छ भैया. The lessons of my 20s and what I learned from it. Intention today is to channel Pritika of her 20s. I hated it so much. God puts you in so much discomfort. At one point of time, I was in a reality show. My mom had given me 20,000 from, she said, "What is this? Does this even sell?" So I said, it was like a breakthrough moment and I get inspired. The thing I really miss about my 20s is that I had much less fear. I was much more open to exploration and putting myself out there. Everything that I built in my 20s had a base of adventure, of exploration, and of new possibilities. Fear was not at the base of anything. There were no second thoughts. There was just action. Even though sometimes it was quite stupid actions, I do miss that about myself. I'm here in my late 30s now, and after seeing a lot of life and having a lot of experiences, I think it pushes you to have fear and it pushes you to slow down on your actions and think about things. Just having things in your brain and not actively working on the things that you want to do, it creates like a stress, and that's really a shitty feeling to have. I have decided to start the year 2026 very strong. Painting is something that I have really wanted to get back to, and the last time I ever painted was in 2010. I had returned from Italy after studying jewelry designing. I was here in my hometown for the year, and like, how much jewelry will you design on paper? I didn't have resources to make those pieces, but I had so much creativity inside me. That whole year, I just painted, even though I didn't have any experience in painting, but there was just a strong pull towards picking up the paintbrush. I have seen something. I'm in front of a lake. Crocodiles live in this lake. We have just spotted one day before, and there is a man on his tire tube fishing. Just one second. Let me go talk to him. This is my view. Isn't it amazing? Just look at this guy. Let me talk to him, ask him if he's not scared. भैया, कल यहाँ बहुत बड़ा मगरमच्छ दिखा था. बहुत बड़ा मगरमच्छ भैया. आपको डर नहीं लगता? हाँ? नहीं? This guy is just not scared. I asked him if he's scared of the crocodiles. He says that he's used to it and they run away once they see him. So if he can be in this water infested with crocodiles and not be scared, I think I'm going to be okay to paint my canvas today. And we'll see how it goes. I feel I'm more scared than him at this time to work on this new blank canvas, which is right here next to me. It's a big one. I'm inspired by him right now. I'm just going to set up my things now. I have not prepared anything, but I feel like I'll talk about the things in my 20s that I really miss about me, the lessons of my 20s, and what I learned from it. You yourself can be your biggest ever inspiration, and as the decades in your life pass, you always go back to the time when you have experienced something similar and how you came out of it, what you did, how you reacted in those times. Rather than looking at other people for inspiration, I think you can be your own big inspiration. I just want freedom and not be chained by my own limitations and self doubts, ideas of who I was, but I am no longer that person. Okay, it's 1:50. Want to be here for a solid 2 hours and get some stuff done. So let's get started with the setup. So this is the color palette that I have selected. I have many more colors, but this is what I decided to bring with me to just have a limited color palette. It's 2 o'clock. The sun is strong. Let's do it. I'm scared and I'm nervous, but let's be inspired by the brother who's there on his tire in this croc-infested water. A prayer for him and for myself, and here we go. I'm just going to wet the canvas like with good vibes and good energy and positivity. Good luck to all of us in this new year, which is also a blank canvas. This new year is a blank canvas for all of us. Just procrastinating on starting with my painting at this point. I have to remind myself that I have enough resources and tools to just go for it. Learning from my 20s, most of the time I didn't have 80% of the things. Oh, once I'm ready, I realized these are still sealed. I need to open these before I get started again. Most of the time I didn't have the things that I needed to create what I wanted. And in fact, I think it made me even more creative. This is a lesson that I want to keep reminding myself of. These days, the dependence on the list of raw material, I'm giving it much more importance than the actual work itself. Like right now, my brain is going all over the place and choosing the shade of green that I want to start this painting with. When I was younger, I had one shade of green, and that was the green that got used. Today, what I want to achieve out of this exercise is not a perfect painting. I just want this to be an adventure where I'm not scared and I'm open to exploration. The intention today is to channel Pritika of her 20s when she was in her full glory and she had balls to do whatever she wanted with her extremely limited resources. Here we go with the first marks. Not going to be scared. This is just some paint. And this is the first layer, so I don't really need to be scared of anything. Just want to have fun. I want to make it lie down flat. Now it's 3:03 p.m. and this is where I am at. I need to wait for the paint to dry a bit and then decide on next steps. Landscape is basically just a starting point to get into abstraction because that is what I want to do. I think I'm done. I'm happy with what's there right now. There are some interesting textures happening. I really like this type of texture, the colors. I like that the middle part is not completely opaque and there is some breathing room. I'm happy with the way things are right now. I painted for approx an hour and a half. I'll share a quick personal story related to having limited resources. When I was 22, after I returned from Italy, I spent a year painting here. Then eventually I realized that jewelry is what I studied. I want to move forward with that, be independent, make money using my jewelry skills, and painting was more like a hobby for me. So I went to Mumbai and I was looking for jobs. I found a job very quickly within the first month. It was my first job as an intern jewelry designer. I hated it so much. In fine jewelry, it's not as glamorous and luxurious as you would think it would be. When you are behind the scenes working in an office, it is more like a prison because they are dealing with precious materials, diamond, gold. So the office where you work probably has no window at all. Your bag, your personal belongings are kept in a locker and they check you like you're a prisoner and trying to hide few precious things. It makes sense because everything is so expensive. Even for checking your shoes, they have a roller with a brush and you have to rub your feet on it so that you don't have any gold dust or diamond stuck on your footwear, and it's really strict. It was completely against my nature and my belief of having freedom. I feel like sometimes God puts you in places which are so unlike your true self and your true nature. God puts you in so much discomfort in the complete opposite direction of where you want to go, just so that you know what you want and where you really don't want to be. I hated that job so much, so I decided to quit it within maybe probably 2 months. My family is in business, so for me, being a job person was a completely different thing. When I was 22 or 23, I decided that I will do my own things and it will be jewelry, but I didn't have any resources to get into fine jewelry, buy precious metal, do even silver or gold. In my 20s, I had a lot of different experience. So at one point of time, I was in a reality show. It's a story for another time. Ritika, अगर कोई आपके लिए वोट करेगा तो क्यों करेगा? I don't socialize enough. I don't mingle. I haven't made many friends. And I agree. And I agree. But there was a girl there. She was from Mumbai and she had much more knowledge on how things worked in Mumbai. She had mentioned in passing to someone that she or one of her friends, they make beaded jewelry and put it in boutiques to sell on consignment and they distribute it all over Mumbai. So this was in my brain that people can make their jewelry and they can put it in consignment in stores. This was something very doable for me. My mom had given me 20,000 from her kitty party savings money. I used that to buy raw materials in Mumbai. I was able to buy a lot of beads with that money. I just bought all the raw material from Mumbai. I came back to my hometown where I am right now. I didn't know how to make beaded jewelry, but I learned from whatever resources I could find online. I learned how to make beaded jewelry. I developed a collection. I hired two local girls. Every day I would set up the composition of the beaded pieces on paper, and the next day they would come and they would make that into a proper necklace. I always loved colors, like I have a thing for colors. It was more like a painting for me. I would compose different colors of beaded jewelry. Soon enough, I had a lot of jewelry. Initially, we made a lot of shit pieces, but then I started getting better ideas and we started making much better pieces. So soon enough, I had around 60 very usable pieces. I had no clue where I was going to sell those, what I was going to do. Obviously, I would have to return to Mumbai. But I realized that in the job that I hated, the owner of that company took me to an exhibition. It was a costume jewelry exhibition in Mumbai. That was also there in my brain. So, all these experiences, you don't know where they get aligned somewhere. I thought, why not take part in that exhibition? I had left my rented home in Mumbai and the owner had all the deposit. So one day the exhibition people went to the home of my landlady and she gave them cash from which my exhibition was booked and all the jewelry made from the 20,000 rupees that my mom had. The exhibition happened, this was in 2012 or something. At that time, beaded jewelry was so new in India, no one was doing it. The first day I was standing there in my stall, and a girl came and she said, "What is this? Does this even sell?" So I said, I really don't know. We'll see. But I had the stall, I had a collection, and I had 60 pieces. For most of them, I used chains and some materials from my purses and my bags and, existing in my home. And I didn't even know if I had to remake these pieces, how would I obtain some of the raw material? Because I used whatever I had in my house. The exhibition was a great success. I got a lot of orders. The friend that I met in reality show, the idea she was talking about that people give their jewelry on consignment to boutiques. So I approached a lot of boutiques. In Kolaba, there was a great boutique. It was called Bombay Electric, and I loved it. They used to sell really expensive jewelry. The most elite of the designers would display their stuff there, and the vibe was completely like mine, colorful, and it was Bombay Electric, and I was making electric stuff. Anyways, I wrote to them, I sent them my collection and my catalog. And just the same month that I had my exhibition and I got orders, they said that they would carry all of my collection and each and every piece of the jewelry that I had made in their boutique. So it was like a breakthrough moment, and I get inspired by my own self and the courage that I had.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pretty Stone.